Hello, everyone. Welcome to Behind the Helm. If you want to check out this show live, make sure you go to Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch every Thursday at 4 p.m. If you want to watch the show afterwards, you can go to YouTube. We'll have our regular show plus bonus content. If you want to listen to the show in your car, maybe in the shower, maybe while you're just chilling doing a workout, head over to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you could find a podcast, and search up Behind the Helm. Enjoy the show. Episode, fix the camera a little bit, 59. Welcome in.
Now it's out of focus.
Like that? You guys like that? Is that better?
Bite the lip
better.
again, it helps.
Yeah, bite.
Okay, all right. Welcome into episode 59 Behind the Helm. If this is, Oh, yeah, let's just have you do the intro.
Oh, you removed something and forgot to put it on, and we just noticed. Episode 59, Sergeant First Class, Aaron Licklider, here with us today. And we are going to discuss a few things, but, man, that just threw me off. Oh, we're start over. We'll edit this in post.
Yeah.
It's not live. It's totally
What
live.
are you missing?
Episode 59.
Everything?
If this is your first time here, welcome in. It is about time, right? I'm glad you finally found it. Thanks for coming in and watching us. Make sure you find it, like it, share it, follow it, put this out there. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell, hit that like button, whatever you need to do so that other people see this. This information may not be for you, but it could help somebody else, right? So absolutely, thank you for being here, and come back next Thursday, 4 p.m. I have some announcements actually today that we're going to go over, but we'll get to that. And if this is your 59th time here, you're awesome. You're awesome. So I'm sure Fields is probably out there. I know my mom is. My mom is an avid watcher. She can't join. She's an avid watcher. Shares it for me all the time. And then every time, you can't hear it right now because I know it's your first time on, but do you see our little...
Yeah.
Somebody else hit the like button so he can see that. It pops up with the Simpsons thing, and it makes a little noise. So once we get back into our actual studio, it's better.
Camera's not working. For my camera, it's not working.
Oh, yeah. Not anymore. It's not.
It was too provocative with you biting your lip. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So what are we going to get into today? We're going to get into some college stuff. We talked about some college benefits before, but, I feel like a lot of times what happens is everybody knows the military has free college. And in fact, most recruiters push that really, we can get free college, right? But we don't explain what it is, how it works, and the things that you can do with it. So I think that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we get into that, let's introduce our special guest again, Sergeant First Class, right?
Yes.
That's 3 chevrons and 2 rockers. Aaron Licklider, go ahead and introduce yourself. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Missouri, a little cornfield in another state.
You're not from, you didn't even say it right if you're from there.
Well, how am I supposed to say it?
Isn't it Missouri?
There's no A at the end unless you go to Mizzou. That's the only time you put the A at the end. Missouri.
I'm sorry, me and my wife have been watching. You ever seen Modern Family?
Yes.
The one Cam, the bigger gay guy on there, he's from Missouri, and it's just hilarious, and that's all I could think of when you said that. I'm sorry. So you're originally from Missouri.
Yes, I'm originally from Missouri.
Missouri.
Now you got me saying it.
Missouri.
The show me state.
Show me what?
Everything.
Why is it called the Show Me State?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's the only I'll tell you. Here's a little thing about Missouri. We've only had one president, old Harry S. Truman. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah.
He dropped the A bombs.
He sure
Haven't
did.
had another president from Missouri again. So
Maybe that's what the Show Me State was.
Dropped all the bombs.
Dropped all the bombs. Maybe that's what it is. The Show Me State. I'm going to show you your insides when we melt them.
Exactly.
Possibly. So Indiana. I just tell people, you've been in Indiana now for how long?
7 years.
7 years. And obviously we're still the Midwest, right?
Absolutely.
I watch a lot of, I don't know if you ever, there's a couple guys out there that do the Midwest things, and I love it. And we talk about things that we say. And I've always said, I don't remember where I read this, but you're not merely born in Indiana. You emerge from the corn with Bud Light in one hand and Hidden Valley Ranch in the other one saying Ope. Like, that's Indiana in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So, and then I'll say it, somebody will be like, I hate Hidden Valley Ranch. I'm like, but do you like ranch dressing? Oh, yeah, on everything, just not Hidden Valley. Like, You're not helping yourself.
Like Great Value brand.
Yeah, great value, that Walmart stuff. So you're originally from there. That's where you graduated high school?
Yes, Troy, Missouri.
Troy,
I was
Missouri.
a Trojan.
There's too much to unwrap there.
Purple
Get
and
it?
gold, baby.
What year did you?
He's killing it.
Killing it. Put it out. What year did you graduate high school? You're gonna age yourself.
Yeah, 2003. I'm
2004.
next. Are you,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah. It's okay.
My hair's better.
Yeah, it is. It is right now. The lady who cut it, she did a good job, but they still had the notes in from my wedding, and I didn't want it to be too short. It had to look good, and I forgot to change it, so she didn't cut it short enough. But I was already in there long enough, and I wanted to get out of there, so I had to go back and get it done. So you graduated 2003. Now, did you join the Army right out of high school, or were you
So I did the delayed entry program. I went between my junior and senior year.
when you guys you guys are doing that again now, or
We still do that. So
Yeah, yeah.
I enlisted between my junior and senior year, and I didn't ship until after I graduated high school.
right,
So, yeah.
right. But you didn't go to boot camp.
I did not do the boot camp. We only do that with the Army Reserve.
Right. And then so a lot of people, we kind of see that happen where we call it like, hey, you're now academically a senior. You know, you finished your junior year, getting ready to roll into your senior year. Let's go down, get you qualified.
Yep.
Get you your job and everything guaranteed to you as long as you stay qualified, and then you're just going to work and continue to work with the recruiters in your office. Hopefully you have good ones. And we've talked about our delayed entry program before, and how it means a lot to me. I know me and you have talked about it because I didn't have one. Like, my recruiter was not good.
Yeah.
I did not learn anything.
How long
I
were you
just,
in the delayed
showed
entry program?
I joined at 26, and I was still in the delayed entry program for 8 months.
Oh, wow.
It was just my job. Yeah,
Okay.
I had to, for the seat, I joined in April, swore in April, and then did not ship until December.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't do anything.
So how often did you talk with your recruiter?
Well, here's the thing, right? I wasn't a dummy, and I did not want to leave as an E1. And I said, come on, I'm not going to find you referrals. I'm 26. People I know are not,
Right.
I said, I know you get people walking all the time. Like, I was smart enough. I was trying to play the system, right? So I saw him quite a bit, because when I wasn't working, I'd go into the office and work for him. And knowing what I know now, a lot of the stuff I did was not right. Like, I was the one faxing paperwork to MEPS. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
He's born to do this.
I was born to do it. Just handling people's PII, not a big deal. This is why we have classes on these things now.
Perfect NC.
Yeah. So anyway, not very much. He wasn't there very often, and that's why delayed entry was important to me. But like for you, and it's fine, right? You can be honest. Was your recruiter good? Like, did you find them, or did they come find you? Because I was a walk-in.
So
I was 26.
Me and my recruiter, there's a long history, right? So
Really?
First of all, I was on the way to the hospital to see my uncle. He lost his leg in a motorcycle accident. He's okay, but
Not qualified.
Yeah, he was. Well, he was in the Navy, actually.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, not at the time of the accident, but he was in the Navy. But yeah. So
There was a safety stand down directly after that if he was still in the Navy.
yeah, they're like, none of this.
Yeah.
He got hit by a van. It was,
Man.
It's a whole story, but that's nothing. We were on the way to go visit my uncle in the hospital, and my dad was like, "Well, it's always been I'm going to join the military. The branch was never what branch. We didn't know."
Sure.
And my dad was in the Navy, and my uncle was in the Navy, but he took me in, and he skipped the Navy office. I don't know why. He might have had a bad experience, but it was the 80s. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's possible. It's very possible that, like you said, I think that's a good way to look at it. Is it doesn't matter what your family was in. Like, hey, I want to look at the military. Like, yeah, sure, look at them, right?
Right.
And that's some of the benefits we're going to talk about today. We both have. So it's just kind of what lifestyle do you want, right?
Exactly.
And when you have somebody that's biased in your family, whether it's for or against, that can kind of sway you, right? Like, oh, my whole family were Marines, so I have to be a Marine. Or my uncle was a Marine and said, join any branch but the Marine,
Exactly,
because
yep.
of their experience. And your experience changes. So he was in, and I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you. I just thought it was a really great point.
Yeah, and that was kind of weird that he did that. So I just took that as all right, I'm following the old man.
Right.
And he was, he's always a leader. I probably learned that in the Navy, but he took me somewhere I went. And we walked in the Army office, and it was kind of like, hey, let's set up an appointment. And the next week, the Army recruiter comes to my house. He showed me a couple pictures. I don't even remember it. I just know my parents signed all the bunch of paperwork, and my mom filled out the packet. I didn't do any of it.
Wow.
Like, yeah, so she just did everything. And so I didn't know what I was doing. He was just like, hey, yeah, next week I'm picking you up. I'm going to take you down to MEPS. And I was like, cool. I didn't ask what I'm doing at MEPS. I didn't ask anything. He was like, I'm taking you to MEPS. And I was like, all right, cool.
But it was something that you wanted to do.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Right,
I definitely want to join the military.
You were one of those that as recruiters now, we're just like, hey, we're going to do this, this, this. Okay. I like you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We like you, but we're also like, man, I wish you would ask some questions because it
can cause problems later.
Yeah,
you should have watched more episodes of Behind the Helm to get the great information that you needed.
100%.
Find it, like it, share it, follow it, smash that like button down below. So you go to MEPS.
I go. Well, my car breaks down on the side of the road the day I'm supposed to go to MEPS, right? So it is July. I'm sweaty. My car's broken down.
I know exactly what your recruiter was saying. Oh, man.
I wasn't even going on my way to the recruiting office. I was on my way home to go get my stuff to go to MEPS.
Yeah.
He just picks me up off the side of the road, so I don't have a bag. I don't have anything.
Wow.
So I have sweaty, just everything, and I'm about to do the underwear thing at MEPS.
The underwear Olympics.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to do all that the next day. I don't know that I'm going to do that, but that was the most so MEPS was embarrassing to me. I'll never forget it because of that, because I'm like, I'm in gross underwear. Like,
can't wait for this doctor to fond me.
Yeah. And you don't know that that's happening either. There was no brief. Like, do you brief your guys before they go to MEPS?
100% because of that, right?
Yes.
Because that can cause, I don't want to say like cause issue, but like you kind of freak out.
Yes.
And I mean, come on, people get hit for a high heart rate or high pulse, and then they have to calm down. And a lot of that comes from, I didn't know that this was going to happen. So when I brief them, I give them like worst case scenario.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I tell them everything that they're going to experience just so they know. And then when they come back and they're like, yeah, it wasn't really that bad. Good. You know what I mean? Like, especially like with females, it's a little different exam. So yeah, I make sure to, but that's, so you're an example of that. So your recruiter was just like, he's good. And
absolutely,
probably should have briefed you a little bit, right?
Yes. And so you got to think, I joined the Army before cellular phones. So I go down there, I take the test that morning.
Obviously you did, because nobody calls them cellular phones. Freaking Zach Morris over here.
Did you have a pager at the time?
Yeah. No,
I'm like, I bet your recruiter did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because recruiters used to, they had the pagers, man. I was like,
no,
crazy.
I was also poor. I was from a little sweet trailer park. We had skirting, so we were like a good trailer park. But
oh, you were in the trailer park where skirting was like upscale.
You didn't see the wheels,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
so yeah, like I took the test that morning. Then went right into the physical. I didn't know anything.
Oh, you did it. You did same day processing.
Right. And so at the time, I thought I was a ninja. I was doing Taekwondo. I'd been doing it for a while. So like, right? I'm telling you this to tell the part where I sit down with the guidance counselor and they're like, okay, it's time to choose the job, choose what you're going to do. And it's a lot different what we do now. We do it in our office before you go. But then it was just like, you go to MEPS, you do it all one day.
Right.
And so he was like, where do you want to go? And I was like, I didn't even know that was an option. Okay.
Yeah, what's that?
And you got to think, I'm 17. I haven't even gone into senior year and I have 4 chest hairs. And so I'm going out in there and he's like, where do you want to go?
Almost 5, but then you realized it was fuzz from your shirt. Yeah, I got you.
And so he was like, where do you want to go? And I was like, I want to go to Korea. And he was like, well, that's great. Because I did Taekwondo for so long. I was like, I'm gonna go to
you
where this place is.
Great.
Yeah, I was like, this is going to be awesome.
I'm just going to stay on a 36 parallel. Like, no.
I didn't know anything. I don't know if you know this, but
yeah, it's 17. I mean, yeah.
I still feel like I don't know anything, and I know I didn't know anything then. So yeah, but yeah, so he takes me down there, and he's like, what do you want to do? Or where do you want to go? I want to go to Korea. And he was like, Korea, I got infantry for you. And that's the one thing I knew is I did not want to be like a combat guy. I was like, I don't have the money to go to college. I live in this sweet trailer park in the middle of Missouri. Like, what am I going to get out of being infantry? Now, I don't hate on anybody who does infantry. That's an intense, awesome job. But I just knew that wasn't
for
old
you.
Aaron's. Like, that was not what I wanted to do.
it was not for you.
And so the next
wasn't
thing,
going 11 Bravo.
Yeah.
It wasn't happening.
So the next thing he said was, I have Hawaii, and I barely heard him say construction equipment operator, and I was like,
yeah, he said Hawaii. Like,
yeah,
we've talked about that because we have Hawaii too, and like,
absolutely, Pearl Harbor. I actually went to Pearl Harbor before I went to my duty station in Hawaii.
Yeah,
because it's awesome.
And when I tell people that, I'm like, you literally get paid extra money, but people don't realize like how far away it actually is, because every time we see a map, it's right here.
Yeah.
No, it's way over there. But like, you're literally getting paid to live in paradise.
Yes.
And like, everything is very expensive, but like, when I tell people that, like, obviously I didn't get those orders. Like, it wasn't available. Would I have taken them? Duh.
Yeah.
and of course the one future sailor that we had that got those orders was like a pale ginger. So like, and like posting pictures on Facebook, like it's almost too
Is that
beautiful.
derogatory? Is ginger derogatory?
Is ginger?
Hey, we take that back, guys.
Yeah, I don't want to offend anybody.
Fair skin
fair-
redhead.
Oh, you can't say redhead.
Fair skin, red hair.
I don't think you
My
say
mom
red.
was a ginger. I'm offended.
I don't think you can offend people that don't have souls. So anyway,
Touche.
but yeah, so you're like, heck yeah, I'm gonna go to Hawaii.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to Hawaii. Now I've enlisted. I swore in. I had to call my parents from a payphone.
And what was your job?
I'm a construction equipment operator. So
That's what you chose.
Bulldozers, graders, scrapers.
So in ours, we have that. It's just called equipment operator, but it's CB's.
Right, it's part of your
construction
CBs.
battalion.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
yeah.
same type of thing.
CBs
Right.
are
You
awesome.
work with CBs too, right?
I have worked with. So your CBs that do construction, the same thing as me. They all train in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, with us,
Right,
But
right.
separately, because you guys have different equipment. Because it's got to fit on your boat.
The LCAX and then yeah.
I'm sorry. Is it a ship or a boat? I don't want to offend you.
Depends.
I,
Depends on.
I'm okay with the
depends on how big
gingers,
it
but
is.
I don't want to
I
offend
think-
you
I
about your
think,
ships or boats.
The sub community calls them the
Boat.
boat.
The
In
boat.
Surface, it's usually ship.
We will say to each other, "Go to the boat," but it's the ship, so it's fine.
Okay,
I forgive you.
just this once.
Just this one.
But yeah, so we train at the same spot. It's just
Right.
the same dirt hole, just in Missouri, in southern Missouri, and
we call it a
just do
dirt hole
different
because literally they're learning how to dig holes. Like
Yeah.
it's not.
we call it
yeah.
$1 million hole. I don't know because we're just
They're-
spending millions of dollars on
just
gas.
digging
Just
this
everybody
hole.
training.
Yeah.
Everybody's digging the same dirt that was dug a week ago, and that's
Right.
everybody's doing that. But yeah,
Empty this hole. Fill it back in.
100%.
Good job. Right, yeah.
yes, it's the perfect dirt that you'll never be able to use again.
But it's like, but realistically, like that's one of those jobs that we both have. That's like really, I think that people don't realize that we have it.
Absolutely.
And it's straight like when we're talking to people in schools and stuff, they're like, "Well, I'm going to go into construction." Hi, we can get you your license for that. You know
Absolutely,
what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And those are a couple of the other things that we'll kind of touch on today as well. But so you do that. You go to Leonardwood,
Yep.
right? Because
Well, so hold on. Now we were talking about my recruiter before. We
Oh
get
yeah,
to
your recruiter.
Leonardwood,
Sorry,
right?
sorry.
Yeah. So then I have a year before I ship to basic training.
Oh yeah, because you had to
Yeah.
go through your senior year.
So I talked to my recruiter one time in that whole
Oh, my
year.
gosh.
He said he calls me up one day and he said, "Do you think you could pass a PT test? I want to promote you." And I was like, I can will myself into doing anything.
I sure can try.
Yeah, what do we got? And so I took a PT test. It was at the time it was the push-ups, sit-ups, and 2-mile run.
Physical training.
Yeah, and I didn't know, and we did it in an upstairs in the gym in the upstairs of like a basketball,
yeah,
where
yeah.
you had to do like 36 laps.
And it's like super dry air and you can't breathe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I had a sweet. That was my first blister. It was.
Oh, my gosh.
Because you did so many left-hand turns.
Yeah, yeah,
I felt
yeah.
like I was in NASCAR, and so, but he was like, "Good, you passed. You're getting promoted to E2," and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." And then I didn't see him again until
That was like
ship
the
day.
one time you saw him.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, cool, I'm getting promoted." Didn't see him again until ship day.
Now, do you think with because I know we've talked about how you guys are with future soldiers now and how we are with our future sailors. Do you think that helps shape the way you treat future soldiers now? Because once you got to boot camp, there were people that like knew stuff and you're like,
Oh,
wow,
yeah.
I wish I knew this information.
Yes, like just like how you stand in a formation, you know, like
Yeah.
the
Basic-
first thing you
basic
do
stuff.
is to stand in a formation, and I look to my left and some people are like at the parade rest, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands. You just follow along until you figure it out and just feel dumb.
So I tell all my future sailors that, you know, we have 11 general orders. And you can be, it says right in the book, which I got this book, right?
Right.
I didn't even know that it was, I thought it was just a thing to look through. I didn't know I was supposed to study it,
Yes.
right? That you have to memorize those and that they can ask you any or all of them within the 5 days, right? And you have to know them. And you can learn them there. I did, but it was very stressful. And like when I got there, if somebody would have said like, how many general orders are there? I probably would have looked at them and said, what is a general order? Like I knew
Absolutely,
nothing,
yeah.
you know? I worked on Fort Drum, Army base. I knew Army stuff. I even knew like, you know, not everybody just knows like can say 11 Bravo. Like I know what
Right,
it
yeah.
is. Like 10th Mountain, what's up? But you know, and it's just from my time. So I knew that, and Navy is so different.
Yeah.
Very traditional, you know. So, but no, yeah. So you saw him one time in a year.
Saw him one time,
At
and that
least that
definitely
one time
changes how
paid
you
you.
want to teach people because,
Yeah.
like, when you're in reception for at least the Army, they're like, all right, you're going to stand at parade rest and you're just going to wait. And while you're waiting, here's a book and you're going to learn the Soldier's Creed.
Right.
Yeah. And you're like, and what you're waiting for is to go get size for what size breeches you want to wear. You know?
Right.
Since you aged me earlier, I'm going to use the word breeches.
Yeah.
And so you're like waiting to go, all right, what size boots am I going to wear? What size, whatever. And then they're like, here, read this book in between here and don't say anything for the first 5 days. And you're learning the Soldier's Creed. And I'm just so nervous about what's going to happen next that like it's only 3 paragraphs. It's a long 3 paragraphs when you're nervous.
I mean, our Sailor's Creed's right up there, same thing, and it's one of those things that not only just memorizing it, but if nobody worked on it with you, just like a song, there's a cadence to it. So you're just like memorizing these words, and then when you're trying to do it to that kind of cadence, it is hard. And I tell my kids too, like, look, you're going to stand and stare at this book, and you can learn it. But I'm telling you, if you already know it, oh my gosh, it will make your life so much easier. You can make it through. My old self did it. So were you 18 by the time you went to boot camp? Were you still 17?
I just turned 18.
Just turned 18. And so you've been in how long now?
So I did 4 years of active duty. I got out for a year and I did the reserve, and then I was like, oh man, I miss the camaraderie. The stuff that you don't realize you miss until you get out.
Right.
And I went to like a couple reserve weekends, and I was like, it's the Army. It's not the same. Like, and so I was like, I want to go back active duty, and I had personal reasons for wanting to go back.
Sure.
And then I so I've been in total of 19 years. And
is that active time or is that with your reserve time?
With my reserve time. So
19,
a little over 19 years, and
right.
So what's weird, so with the reserve time that I had, like it counts towards my years in service for my pay, but you need your active time for your retirement.
Yeah, it's the same with us. Like reserve is a little different. You earn points towards a retirement, a little different.
Yes.
Right. So and now you're here.
Now I'm here.
Right. So when you went back in active, did you go back in as the construction?
I did. So when you come, I don't know, can you put prior service in?
Yes and no. We have prior service recruiters that specifically work with prior service. It depends on how much time. Like if you're boot camp dropout or like less than a year.
Yes.
Right. We can. Otherwise, we have specialized
so we have
for that. It's a little different.
For us, it's like if you've been out for 5 years, you're doing basic training again. That's coming. But if it's less than that, you're not. But certain branches have to do basic training. The Marine Corps and the Army can come back in the Army and no basic training within the 5 years, as long as they're within that 5 years. The other branches have to do basic training. But some of them, it's when the Navy does it, you guys have it's not basic training. It's like a conversion training. Just switching you over.
Yeah.
But when I came back in, I was still in the reserve. So it was just they checked out my physical and make sure that you're good to go. And I just went down. And the way it works, if you're prior service, is you don't have as much options as like you did, with when you come into the office normally. You go down there and they're like, these are the places you can go with your job that you currently have.
Oh yeah.
And this is the jobs that you can switch into. Now, if the Army, like depending on how many people the Army needs, you may not be switching into any jobs.
Right.
And the higher you get promoted, the less options there are for you to switch around to.
Right. Because then they're like, hey, we need you. We need that level of expertise. Like I've been on reserves for the last 4 years. What expertise do I really have?
Right. Depending on the job. Of course.
Depending. Right. So, because it's the same for us. There's certain jobs that are only in active. They're not going to be on reserve. So you did that.
Do you have any that's only in reserve that you don't have on active duty?
No,
I think it's just there's some that are active duty that aren't in the
reserves. Yeah.
Okay, so we have like random ones that are only in the reserve, like
really,
like quarry specialists, train operators.
Did you say
quarry?
Quarry.
It's a hard word.
Q.
Yeah, like
you're from Missouri.
Like where I got.
Like that MW2
where I get my rock from.
Yeah.
Where I get my rock from. I don't know.
Q95 in Indianapolis is where I get it from. Quarry specialist. Train operators? That's only reserves?
Yes. And I don't know why.
I guess.
I bet there's a couple more.
I bet back in the day, because like I remember on Fort Drum, like there's a ton of train, and same, we've got different bases where we have a lot of train track, because that was the thing.
Well, if you think about like World War II, we were using trains.
For everything.
Killing it with trains, but now it's not so much.
Not so much. I don't know why. More efficient. It's just hard to
take a left.
Yeah.
Or maybe a right. It doesn't matter.
I just,
random wherever you want to go.
What drives me nuts is when I see that like somebody got killed by a train. Like, move. Like it's not.
They're only going one way.
It just got me. Like I wasn't ready for it. And if you ever had anybody killed by a train, I apologize. It was a joke. Again, not trying to offend anybody. So anyway, you went back in. You're doing the construction thing. You did your next term. Then you went recruiting.
So, yes, I did my first 4 years in Hawaii. Got out, did my year, and then came back in the Army and went.
How do you do 4 years in Hawaii and then be like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna get out. This is stupid. There were personal reasons. I'm sure you don't got to go into. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Well, no, I'll be honest with you. It was mostly I deployed twice in those first 4 years, right? So I spent 2 of my first 4 years in this sunny place in Iraq, and I was like,
yeah, because we're talking. This is
so 2004, 2006.
Yeah.
I was in Iraq, and I was like, man, like half of my adult life I've been in Iraq, and I was like, man, I'm good. I think I'm gonna get out. You know what I mean?
I got stationed in a place that has sand, but it's a beach.
Yeah.
And now you're just sending me to a place where there's just a very, very long beach and no water.
And I feel like I have really good luck because I was like, all right, well, I've tested my luck and I haven't, you know what I mean? 2 years, I didn't pull the trigger in 2 years. I was doing stuff outside the wire. I was doing work, but I was like, man, I'm very lucky. I haven't had to squeeze the trigger once. Maybe we should just hang this up now while I'm winning.
Sure.
And then I got out of the Army and came back in, got my first paycheck in Kuwait on my way back to Iraq for the 3rd time.
Wow.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, make sure you smash that like button. If you have any questions for Sergeant First Class Licklider, make sure you post them down below. And even if it's after the fact, if you're not watching this live, you can still ask. We work right next door to each other. Literally, he knocked on my back door and said, "Yeah, we doing this thing?" And here he is. So we're together in Anderson. So you got out, you did 1 year, you came back in. So why recruiting? What made you decide to? And the one thing I want to say about construction, right? Like you were saying, I did things outside the wire. This, right? And when you think about that, I think when people think like, well, I want to do something where I could be, some people want to do that. Like that's what they want. And you wouldn't think construction, but realistically, you got to go in there first. Right. You know what I mean? You got to clear it out. You got to build this. It's the same thing with our CBs, right? Like the CBs and you guys don't call it construction battalion, or is it?
Yes.
Yeah, same thing. So that's where CB comes from. CB, right? Construction battalion. But they're going to go in, they're going to build those structures, clear the runways and this and this and this. And so, I mean, you're kind of the first ones in, really.
Yes.
Pretty high up there. So I
didn't know it was going to be as intense, like outside the wire as I thought, but it was also like, whatever we're doing, if we're doing it outside the wire, it's important to somebody.
Sure.
And so it's somebody. They're not just sending like we do our own security, but they always send us with somebody who's like, here, this is
their job.
Here's a tank with you today, or here's like an infantry platoon, and and it's very safe. It's safe, but you're still doing manual labor with full battle rattle on. It's good times.
In the heat, in the sand. So. Let's get back, like, why recruiting?
Recruiting? Yeah. Okay. Well, I got put on recruiting. I didn't ask to do recruiting, and I got put on recruiting. Okay, so you
were kind of one of the voluntold options.
90% of us are voluntold.
I was about to say, like, isn't that usually with the Army, it's
almost 90% voluntold until you have, like, or unless you're like, I really want to, like, you have the calling, or, like, you're like, I might have an opportunity to be... You think, I'm going to have to take a break, but recruiting is a lot of work. It's just different work.
Yeah.
So if someone were to give you recruiting orders and you didn't want it, but there was somebody else in the command
or
that wanted to go recruiting, could you be like, well...
Oh, no. So you got to make sure that they qualify for recruiting as well.
Well, that too, yeah. Like we have to go through a qualification process. I think I think people don't realize that.
There's a huge vetting thing.
Oh yeah.
And so that's another thing. And they don't send, obviously, same thing with you guys. They don't send brand new soldiers out to do this either. You've been in here. You're at least a sergeant. Yeah.
Normally, like when Petty Officer Levesque got here, he was an E4. Right. And that's very rare. It's normally.
So,
I mean,
is that an NCO for you guys?
E4 is. We don't use the term.
It's a special thing for E4. You have to be what they call an exceptional sailor.
Oh, to come recruiting. But what he means, NCO.
You're exceptional. All right. He's like, I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but
a non-commissioned officer. So believe it or not, we are, but we don't use that term in the Navy. It is, but it's just not something that you hear.
Right.
So for us, E4 up is a non-commissioned officer. Whereas like I know you guys, you have specialist and corporal, both E4.
Yes.
And the way it was explained to me by my grandfather is a specialist is an E4. A corporal is an NCO with E4 pay.
Yes.
Right? Like,
Yes.
you're an NCO, but you're not getting paid as an NCO.
Usually what it does now, the way we use it now, is you have gone through the promotion selection process and you're waiting for your promotion date. And so that's when they pin you as a corporal. Because sometimes...
Doesn't it depend on the job? Some jobs are more...
Some jobs are more...
corporal,
yeah.
not,
But some jobs promote a little bit faster than other jobs as well.
Just like us, yeah. So you get voluntold to go recruiting.
Yes.
And you've been a couple places recruiting. And you...
Well, all of it's been here in Indiana, but yes, I've been a few places. This is my third recruiting station.
And you are a career recruiter now, right?
Yes.
And so you made that transition to where you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
And which is crazy because you were voluntold, like, hey, I don't want to do this.
Right.
And then you decide to transfer and become a lifer recruiter.
Yes. Oh yeah. It's me forever now. But the reason you do it is, I mean, it's slightly selfish and it's slightly...
Oh, I think, yeah.
No, actually, I'm not going to lie. It's 100% selfish. Like, you like the job, one. You don't do it if you don't like... If you're doing it and you don't like the job, that's another issue. But
no, you take orders and go back to sea early.
Yeah.
Which we're going to talk about, too, with Levesque. That'll probably be next week, but...
I like it. Yeah, so you like the job. You get some sort of enjoyment out of it, whether you put in a lot of people and then some of them you're like, this is one I'll remember, like, you know what I mean? Forever.
Yeah.
Forever. And some you remember most of them, but like you're like, this one is like, man, he or she needed this and this is now like their life
literally
is
helping them.
And then some of them, like, you follow their career. Like,
sure.
I've been recruiting long enough that I've seen people that are one rank below me now, and it's like, oh, that makes me feel old as hell.
It's funny too. I think you always remember the first person you put in. Like me and Levesque have talked about his, because he it was we had on the show who was originally from Russia as a baby and was adopted and and so it was a lot of paperwork.
It's a whole new packet.
I'd never done, and he a great guy. Anything we asked him to do, he did it. And man, that was welcome to recruiting. Levesque. It was crazy. So,
got a 99 on the ASVAB.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. When he took his East, he did it in like.
Yeah, we thought, you ever had somebody do it really fast? You're like, dude, they failed.
Cheated.
No, he got a 99.
Or they failed.
Yeah, you either cheated or you failed. Yeah.
He got a 99. I was like, oh.
Yeah, no, didn't do any work on the sheet.
Is he a submariner?
He is.
He was gonna go nuke, but there was a lot of like
security
things because of the Russia stuff, and
we'll just put him underwater. Nobody will see.
He wanted to get out of here.
And that was like the quickest one.
Really?
Yeah, at the time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still got $15,000 for it, so.
Oh yeah. So.
Ooh, your first one got a bonus.
Yeah.
My first one was like he transferred from the National Guard into the active duty, and so there was no bonus. The bonus was you have a full-time job.
Well, he transferred from the National Guard to the Army.
Yes.
Because the National Guard is not the Army.
Correct. Well, it's the state militia.
So yeah, easiest way to describe it.
Yes.
Not being derogatory. Like seriously, that's what it is. So, all right. Well, we carried on. We're here with Sergeant First Class. I always try to say something else I'm not used to saying your guys' ranks. Obviously, like Sergeant First Class, Licklider with the Army. He's the Army recruiter right here in Anderson. Covers everything here. So if you have any questions for him, please post them down below. Make sure you smash that like button, follow this feed, share this feed, subscribe if you're on YouTube. We appreciate you being here. And if you're on Twitch, we actually had a question from Twitch last week, which was mind blowing to us because we just got on Twitch and hey, it's there. But definitely check it out and comment down below.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about some GI Bill stuff.
We are
the good stuff.
But before we get to the good,
okay.
We have not given homage to our updated Eagle, and I believe that you brought something.
I love that the Eagle is so 3D.
It's like the Eagle we changed because it was one of the old brass Eagles off the flag that's tarnished in our studio. And then I got this and I'm like, we're going to use this. And then as soon as we started using that is when our internet went out in our studio that we have not been back to, where we have our table with literally everything that people have given us. Like we have a piece of World Trade Center, we have patches, and we'll get back there eventually, or I'm just going to make a new one. I don't know.
You should make a new one because
I'm going to talk to
Anderson's better.
Oh, well, I'm going to talk to my American Legion post and be like, give me a room. Let me do it in the Legion. I'm a Legionnaire, so
You should.
yeah.
I have to switch legions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're golfing with us this Saturday, right?
Well, I'm moving to Kansas. The Army's moving me on.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We're donate to your local American Legion, because I didn't realize until I went to a meeting how much the Legion actually gives to charity and does those things. So it's very good. So, CEO, what do you got for us today?
All right. So today I have the 11th ACR patch.
11 ACR, which is what?
The 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment.
Nice.
So when I told you that my third deployment, when I came back in the Army and my first paycheck was in Kuwait, I was on my way to Iraq for the third time.
Yeah.
That's who I went with. I just a huge fan. So if obviously you've never been in the cavalry before, but just like you have spoken to me when you got promoted to chief, how much tradition was going on in there. And that is one of the reasons why I wear that patch specifically is because of all the tradition they have in the cav. They drink beer out of boots. They talk about everything.
They wear cavalry hats on
Stetsons.
Yeah.
They love it. And it's just tradition unit. I just want to, and they play the bad guys when you go to the National Training Center. So they rarely deploy. That's the other reason why I wear that. They rarely deploy, and I got to deploy with them, so that's kind of cool.
Nice. Well, thank you very much, and eventually we will get back. So we are going to talk a little GI Bill. Right? We're going to talk about so this is one of those things I think it gets pushed very hard in recruiting, and especially new recruiters are like, oh, free college. Everybody wants to go to college. All the schools want you to go to college. We'll give you free college. You can't pay for college. How are you going to pay for college? I don't necessarily think it's so much now. There are more things that people are concerned about, but I feel like sometimes we fail to really explain how it works. And us, obviously, we've earned our GI Bill.
Yes.
We both have tuition assistance. We'll talk about that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I've used my tuition assistance. You've used yours as well. And then your wife was in the Army?
Yes. So my wife did 4 years in the Army.
And she has successfully used her GI Bill, and that's how you're able to go golfing because of the money she makes due to her degree, right?
She got me some nice clubs.
Yeah.
It's not good. It doesn't fix my swing.
No, we were talking about that just today about some stuff. So with the GI Bill, a lot of people know it as post 9/11 GI Bill, service members GI Bill, forever GI Bill. And the big thing is that the GI Bill is going to provide 100% tuition and free and fee coverage up to $1,000 per year for books and supplies, and a potential monthly living allowance. So you have to be a full-time student.
Yes.
Right? Which we'll get to that too. And you may, wow, I cannot read that. You may potentially transfer this valuable benefit to your dependents.
Yes.
You can do that. I've done that. And you may use for up to 15 years after completing your service commitment. To qualify for assistance, you need at least 90 days of active military service.
I can read off some info too, and then you guys can kind of just talk about it.
Yeah, if you can do that, because that will have it later.
It was called the post 9/11
Mm-hmm.
GI Bill. It's now changed to the forever GI Bill because it used to have a 15-year limit, meaning that if you did not use the benefit within 15 years, you lost it, which seems kind of unfair in a way.
Yes.
But then again, maybe not. No,
I mean,
it should
15
be
years is a
forever.
long time.
Well, if you think about it though, like your career could change. Some careers that we do, like if I was construction equipment operator and in the civilian world, I lost my leg and I would have to do a complete career change.
Right.
That would be nice to be able to afford a degree in whatever I'm trying to change into.
Well, and I think that's the thing too, right? Degree in whatever you want. So when you use your GI Bill, you can use it for whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Your wife is a nurse.
Yes.
Was she a nurse in the Army?
She was not. So she was
Weird.
a combat medic in the Army.
Well, that's the same thing.
It's not the same thing. It's a paramedic.
I thought she was. Well, I thought she was a different, like completely different.
Oh,
She
no?
was in the medical field. Sometimes you can get out. You don't have to keep going in your field that you were in.
Well, so she got her first associate's degree while she was in with her tuition assistance.
Yep.
And she got that in just it was like medical.
Like the basic.
The paperwork stuff, medical administration.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so she got her first degree in that, and then she was like, I want to, give me back in the blood.
Yeah.
She's intense like that.
So with the GI Bill, basically you have to serve 36 months active duty service and then you've earned it. It's yours. You have it.
Well, actually, that's how you get 100% of the benefit.
Right.
So actually, just serving 90 days of active duty, you actually earn 40% of the benefit, and it goes up 10% every certain amount of time. Like
6 months, 12
for
months,
example,
18.
Yeah, 24 months, you're at 80%. And at 50%, you get half of the benefit without even having to put in half of the time.
6 months
6 months.
of active duty
6
service.
months is training. You
Yeah.
finish training.
Pretty much. And I think the thing with it is that, the GI Bill, pretty much, there are very few colleges that are not going to take it.
Oh, no, nobody's going to turn away free money.
And, well, when we tell people about it, they're like, well, my Uncle Jimmy was in the Marines for 12 years, and he doesn't have a college degree. You have to go get it yourself.
Absolutely.
Nobody's going to hold your hand and take you there. So some of the benefits it talks about, and I want to talk to you about your experience, like, because your wife has used it. So up to $1,000, well, like tuition. So that's based off the state. So how do you know how much money you can get for your GI Bill for your tuition? It's right on the VA website. You type in the state, and it is based off of the tuition rate in that state.
Yep.
Right? So then you get a stipend for books.
Yes.
You get like an allowance for supplies if you're a full-time student, right?
Yes.
And that differs. And then it's talking about housing, right? A stipend for housing. So if you are a full-time student, right? So, hey, you did 4 years in the Army, you did 4 years in the Navy, right? And you got out, and now you're working, and you're providing yourself, during your time, you got some nice things, and now you need to keep providing those nice things and paying for them, but now you want to go to college.
Right.
All right, well, I'm going to be a full-time student because I want this degree. Okay, well, there's no way that you're going to be a full-time student and have a full-time job and provide for this family. Like, they understand that. So they're going to keep paying you for your bills. They're going to give you E5 BAH,
Yes.
right? In order for you to pay your mortgage so that you can be that full-time student and go to school. So you're not even in the military anymore. They're not just paying for your college. They're paying for your mortgage, for your bills. They're giving you money to get your books. It's way more than just
It's
tuition.
there to take off the stress of I have to pay all my bills, and you have to maintain a C or higher. And anybody who's giving you money for school, you have to maintain a C or higher.
Correct.
So
that's
now
any
the
scholarship.
pressure's on, and now you're like, well, I have to. Do I do school? Or do I go to work? And
Right.
that is why people drop out. And so that tuition assist or that stipend to live with is there to take that stress off of the person going to school.
Right, absolutely. And so now, were you guys already together and married when she was doing her GI Bill when she was going to school?
Yes.
Okay.
So that was awesome.
Yeah, because it's actually, because you're still eligible for like fast funds. You can still apply for these things.
Yes.
Is that double BAH?
It's BH and
So
a half.
she earned it herself, right? So this is the one thing you have to make sure that you know is if you give your GI Bill away to your spouse, then
Or
she
kids.
does not get a BAH while she's your spouse and you guys are living together. Now, if you were to if you're already receiving BAH while you're active duty,
Right.
But if you were to get out, then yes. But because it was hers, she earned it
Right.
herself. It was I still
you
have
didn't
my GI
transfer
Bill.
it.
Yeah, I didn't
Right,
transfer
right.
that to her because it was hers and she earned it herself. She got her own BAH.
Right.
So I had my BAH, she had her BAH. We high-fived on the weekends and had good times. When she wasn't doing homework. And she's actually, I never actually got to really
That's
see
a
her.
lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of extra money. I would be like, can you just go to school forever? Well, I understand with the housing too, just so people know, it does, from my understanding, it does dwindle down year to year, right?
What do you mean, the housing stipend?
Like your
But yeah,
your
yeah.
BAH. I thought as the year goes, like when you hit year 4, it's like less BAH. Is that not true?
Well, you
I'd
only
have to
have
double check. So
Yeah, you only
we don't share accounts. That's how we.
Okay.
That's how you survive.
That's how we have never fought about money. And so, but yeah, that's a fight that's never happened.
That's my sister. I didn't know this. My sister said that her and my brother-in-law, she's like, yeah, my bank account's looking pretty good right now. And then she was saying like, because he had switched jobs and they messed up his pay. So he just hadn't gotten paid yet. Like, it's just a little weird thing. And she had mentioned like, yeah, Brandon got paid. This is, I'm like, you just said, she's like, oh, my account's good.
Yeah.
His though? I'm like,
Oh yeah. That's
You guys are married.
exactly how it works. Well, because
Yeah.
she has her account, I have my account, and then we pay bills with another account. And there's
I guess
zero
that's-
drama.
I guess me and my wife do that too. We put money into, there's this account. She has her stuff. I have my, but we do joint
Yes.
stuff out of, yeah, that makes sense. So the GI Bill, you have that. And then when it comes to transferring it, if you do, like obviously like you said, she earned her own. You still have yours. You can transfer it to your kids, to your spouse if they're not in. You have to have
There are
enough
rules about
service.
that.
Yes, there are. And
'Cause
what
you
are
have to
those
have-
rules?
I don't remember how long. Is it 8 or 10 years before you can give it away?
6,
6? I thought it was 8.
8. Double check on that.
He's double checking that.
It's 8.
It's 8.
Fact check. 8. 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. 8.
But
8.
you also have to have a certain amount of time left in service to give it away.
Yes.
That yes. Yeah.
I don't know the exact, but I'm almost positive you have to have 4.
Yeah, I was
You
gonna
have
say
to
3
you
or
have to
4.
have 8 years of service and 4 years left.
Yes.
Does that sound right?
Yes.
I thought it was 6. It's one of those two, right?
But here's a cool thing, because you're getting most people just give it away to their kids, right? They're like, here's 2 for Billy and here's 2 for Johnny. You can do that. You
That's
can
yeah.
separate
You
it
can
how
split
you want.
it in a percentile. You do not. It's not one thing. I mean, you can
Exactly.
split it.
Now, and they'll still get the BAH because they're not your spouse,
Right.
which is cool. And
Right.
then the other thing is, depending on the state you live in, your kids could just go to school for free because they're
they're a
child
veteran,
of
yep.
a veteran.
Yep.
Which is-
Indiana's really big on that.
Yes.
Really, really good benefits. We've talked about that, but definitely on the VA website, you can see all that. So, I think that's a lot more than what people realize that the GI Bill
Yes.
does and how you earn it. Now, reservists, do you get help with that too? Yes, but you're not going to get an 100%
Correct.
GI Bill. And you can start in the reservists, you can start using right away. You don't have to
Yes.
wait, but it's obviously a lot
Do you
less.
guys do a lot of student loan repayments within the reserve? We do that. That's one of our.
It's in cycles. Sometimes it's certain jobs. Sometimes and there's certain things you got to do for the
Right.
loan
Sometimes
repayment.
the score, your ASVAB score will
Mhm.
affect that.
Yeah, but there are those out there too.
Do you guys get tuition assistance while in the reserve as well?
It's a little different. It's not like full like our active duty
Okay.
one, right? So you've used your tuition assistance in active duty.
Yes.
I have as well. It's something I never thought of using. I was never told about. I only knew about the GI Bill. That's all anybody knows.
Right.
And then we earn college. I know you guys do too. Earn college credits just for everything that we do while we're in. Like my school that I went to. Now, obviously, that's credits towards your job because it's specific training that you do.
Yes.
And that goes on a joint service transcript that I can then transfer into any school as long as those credits are going towards whatever degree I'm deciding I'm going to do, right? But with RTA, it's literally just while you're in. It doesn't affect your GI Bill at all. It's completely separate. And, it has different rules, and I won't get into them, mainly just because, like we were talking, it changes from year to year with funding.
Funding. Yeah.
As far as how much money you can use per year, this. You can get a certificate, associate's, bachelor's. You can get one of everything all the way up. If, you don't use all of the money for it while you're in. I have 2 associates and a certificate. So the second associates I paid a little bit for, but because of my first, I really wanted to take a few classes, but I couldn't move laterally.
Yes. You have
Right?
to always move up. So you can go all
yeah.
the way to doctorate using your tuition
Absolutely. And you do that while you're in. Now, for us, the rules, because I know we were kind of talking about it and you were curious. For us, most of the time what they do is they say that when you get to your first parent command, like after school,
Mhm.
right? Get your first parent command. Normally they want you to wait 12 months before you start taking classes because you are getting qualified on your job. They want you to focus on, hey, get your basic qualifications, get your job down, get all the training down,
Right.
right? And then have at it. We took, we had professors that came out to sea with us. Like I took an English class while on deployment in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Like I literally sat at a table, took a class, So that's really kind of the only stipulation. And I mean, they can stop you from taking classes. Your command, like if
If it's affecting your career,
Right,
like
right,
you're
yeah.
like,
but we want them to. I mean, that's going on your eval. I'm sure it looks good for you guys too,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like it's going to help you advance, so they want you to take that post-secondary and you're not using your GI Bill.
they look at that for promotions with us. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anything past E4, they start looking at.
Oh,
Look
yeah.
at that for promotion.
And realistically, like so at first when I did mine, right, I look at the credits I had and I could take it to any school really that would take it in. Obviously I'm not going what we call brick and mortar. Like I'm not physically going to the school.
Right. Yeah.
At the time, I can now. I could take night classes, but like then I couldn't. And there were certain schools that were also on base that had representatives. So I chose one of those, Coastline Community College out of California. I'm in Virginia. I applied and, I talked to a few colleges just like any high school student would. Don't talk to just one, look at your options. I did the same thing. right? How much are you going to transfer in? How many credits? You know, and for me being so much older and not having ever done any college, I said to myself, like, or I said to them, like, I don't know how well I'm going to do. Like, what's the quickest degree I can get with what I have? And it was an electronics degree because of the stuff that I did. I only had to take 6 classes. I had an associate's degree, and 2 of them were electives. So, because they transferred like 47 credits. I'm like, I didn't even know I had 47 credits. Like, this is amazing. You know, and then finding out that like that's just because of my job. I didn't have to do that though, right? So when I did the Sonoran Desert Institute that I've told you guys about, you know, the gunsmithing school, the certificate and stuff. I mean, yes, I'm a small arms marksmanship instructor, but that's just a collateral, right? That's not my job in the Navy. I just like guns. So when somebody told me about that, the Navy didn't stop me from doing that. Like, I could take classes to be an astrophysicist if I wanted to, and as long as I passed the class, my TA could pay for that, you know? So they don't limit you. You know, some jobs, careers out there, they limit you, say like, well, yeah, we'll pay for your college, but
if you're if you're working at Amazon, they're paying for your college, you're getting a logistics degree.
Or logistics, you know, which isn't necessarily bad.
Like if you're in the Army and you're a tanker, you're not going to be getting a tanking degree, you know what I mean? That's not what you're going to go get a degree in. So that we open it up for how many different schools you guys work with? Do your tuition assistants like specific schools, or do you guys
You can
know?
go to anything. You just kind of have to make sure you're looking at the per credit hour thing. Like there's a cost per credit hour.
As long as it's reaching,
you just got to make sure you can take a class at, you know,
you might have
like
to
a
pay
big name
difference.
school, but you're kind of wasting your money doing that because a class is going to cost way more than it would just.
So I have 2 things. So the Army uses Army Ignite Ed, which is like, so we find our school, like we can find our school on our own, and then we go through this Army Ignite Ed, and then that's how they use our tuition assistance. So it's a lot more user friendly for us. So then they're paying it through that.
Okay,
and we don't have to go, did you pay the school? And there's like just a, you know,
so
that
when you were explaining that, I didn't quite understand. So we do have that. We have the Navy College office. Okay. So you have somebody who is looking at your education plan and then doing that, and once it's approved through your command, they're doing that, and they can help you find that type of college, or you can just go find it and kind of do it all yourself. But you're going through the Navy College to do that. So yes, not called the same thing, obviously, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that makes it so much easier. Like for us picking, like, and it has the degree plan in there. It's super user friendly, and I think that was. Because college is scary if you know, especially the older the longer you wait, and then you're like, okay, I'm getting in, and you're like, I don't know what to do.
When I said I had to take 6 classes and 2 of them were electives, the first class I took was an elective, and I was like, I'm going to take the history of rock and roll, and we'll just see how this goes, right? I took 1 class, slow, and I was like, dude, I don't know.
Right, and online
formatting
math,
and
gross.
Yeah, I had to take a physical math for the gunsmithing, but. And see, there was another thing. I said I paid a little bit, and I know you can do this too because this is just the GI Bill. This has nothing to do with Army Navy, which you know, we all know that's a great game to watch. But
we're winning.
When I got my second associate's degree, and I said I had to pay a little bit for it, I still applied for FAFSA, got that. Now I'm over 36 months. I have my GI Bill, right? I'm still in though. We always talk about when you get out. When you get out, you can use your GI Bill.
So you used your GI Bill while you were in?
You can. 100. You can.
Right.
Now, you're not going to be a full-time student, stipends, but I didn't know that, right? And when I was talking to the school, they said, well, you can't use your TA because you already have this associate's degree, right? And it's moving laterally. Well, I mean, you can use some of your GI Bill to pay for this. I'm like, really? So you don't have to be out. You just have to have earned it.
Yes.
Right.
So you did your 36 months, and now you can use it.
But you're not gonna. I feel like you're not gonna get that full benefit, like we're talking about, like your wife did, where you're physically going to school, you're getting that BH, you're getting these things. But you know, I just feel like there's a lot into this, and we just covered a ton. Make sure you smash that like button. If you have any questions about the GI Bill or the tuition assistance, please post it down below, even if it's later. Make sure you share this feed because it really could help somebody else out there. And I think, like you were saying, the way you grew up, like you weren't going to college.
No.
It's not that maybe you didn't want to, it
wasn't really an option.
It was an option. And it was the same it could have been an option for me if I would have been smarter about what I did, but it just wasn't, you know? And I didn't want to go into crippling debt. So I did the next best thing. And at 18 years old, moved out of my parents' house and said, I know what I'm doing. I'm an adult now, and went into debt anyway. So don't do that. But yeah, absolutely. I think that there's a lot that you can use it for. You can use it while you're in. You can use your TA, and you can still use your GI Bill while you're in. You can transfer it to your kids. There's just so much that when we tell somebody, hey, the military will give you free college, right? How?
Right.
That's a loaded conversation. And it's something that I think people are just like, oh, okay. Like they think it's blowing smoke because we never give those details.
I think
and
that
it's a lot.
In every college that I've ever talked to, or everybody that I've talked to that's gone to college, they speak with they usually get a special counselor that's like, I'm trained in the VA benefits. And they walk you through it to make it easier. And if you do have any issues, you call the VA and it's super easy.
Right. Right. Yeah. You're talking about after you're out, right?
Anytime you use the GI Bill.
Because it's through the VA.
Yes.
Is who that's through. So like I said, you can go, and we'll add the link later for those of you who are watching it live. We'll get it to you. You can search it. But there are links for the VA specifically for the GI. It's not hidden. Just like our pay and stuff we talk about, it's not hidden. You can look it up when certain people are telling you like, oh no, it doesn't pay for that, and you only get this amount of money. I'm not going to say any names, but there may be somebody in Anderson that says that to students, and I don't like them. You can literally look it up. It's online, straight from a government website, where you can see the amount of money that you would receive.
Absolutely.
Right. So, I think that was a lot of information.
It was.
On you, but not so much the GI Bill and TA. We talked about you too much when you get back to me. So
I apologize.
No, I'm just kidding. No, because you have it's a good story, and we like to actually, hey, look, if somebody watches this in the Anderson area, I normally say Anderson Muncie because that's us, but in the Anderson area, like, hey, look, this is first sergeant or sergeant first class, sergeant first class,
Sergeant first class. Yeah, I'm not first sergeant yet. Fingers crossed, the board's in October.
It's good. Like we have that relationship. And we're going to kind of leave it at that as far as, oh man, look at that. Final Third Cigar and Whiskey Lounge has liked this stream.
Oh.
Yes, those are our guys right there. Did you see that one?
I just saw that.
Well, you've been there.
I've been there, yeah.
Yeah, we did a show there with them. It's cool.
I'm jealous. I did. Yeah. I drank some tequila there.
I did not on the show.
Whiskey Lounge.
The whiskey
I don't
lounge.
like whiskey. I'm sorry.
But that's why you go to a lounge like that. That guy,
he gave me good tequila.
Oh, well, sure.
It wasn't like a cheap tequila.
No,
it was delicious.
I wanted to add to some of these schools. Like these are like some of the top 50 schools that people have gone to for the GI Bill. We're talking University of Phoenix.
Everybody. I just remember the
University of Maryland, North Carolina, Liberty University. University of Georgia, University of Texas, some bigger schools.
Arizona State University. There's a lot, and this
Texas A&M.
This is from Military Times, and this is all branches. This is the average of because when it comes down to it, this is a VA benefit. It's not an Army benefit. It's not a Navy benefit. And like we've said on the show multiple times, is why we have other recruiters on with us and people who've retired from other branches. Look, yes, there are differences, but I guess I never really talked to you about your job. You are a CB. It's it's
in
different
in our sense.
Unacceptable.
Well, I mean, I don't want a CB to hear that. He's not. But you know what I mean.
I've worked with some CBs. They're very, very hard workers.
And you're saying, you didn't want to go infantry, and I think sometimes with the Army and the Marines, that's what it gets. The construction battalions, that's not something that people think that the Navy has. We have it.
Oh yeah.
And with the Army and the Marines, people just think, that's just infantry and grunt. No, there's construction. Even the Marines, they have intel, they have comms guys. You guys have that. That's all there. So it really, really becomes. I think the only thing that I know that we have, because then it's Navy pilots. There are. Army pilots. When I worked on drum, dude, those guys are flying all the time. There are Marine pilots. There are obviously Air Force pilots.
So we just fly different things.
Yeah, and some of them actually fly the same stuff, but that's all there. I would say probably the only thing that we have that nobody else does is that nuclear program, because I don't think anybody else is working with nuclear reactors unless
It's unnecessary.
old Missouri brings back the A-bomb.
Yeah, yeah.
But outside of that, like, it really is. It just becomes, what lifestyle do you want, and where are you looking at, or that legacy, like we're talking about. Like, if you're part of a legacy in your family, it's kind of one of those things. Like I told you, my grandfather was in the Big Red One.
All right.
In the Army, yeah. He's staff sergeant.
We're out in Riley. I'm going out to Kansas next. That's my next duty station.
They told him after Vietnam, because he was a Ranger with them too, and then they would give him another rocker if he stayed in, and he said, "Do you want me to tell you what you can do with that rocker?" Yeah, he got out.
What was he going to do with it? Tell me.
Sew it on, I think.
Oh, okay.
So I do have a little bonus content. We're running a little over, but it was such a good conversation. I want to do a little bonus content. All right.
Just a smidge. All right.
Yeah.
Are we talking about?
Well, you got to introduce it. Hold on. Why did you just look so upset?
I didn't know what you meant.
No, bonus content. Actually, before bonus content.
Well, I'm just saying, there might be a person coming here in like 10 minutes.
I know. It'll be quick. But I do have a couple announcements. Obviously, we've talked about Petty Officer Levesque is leaving and going to San Diego. He will still be part of our family and our show. I'm sure we'll at least do an episode while he's out in San Diego.
No.
I'm
kidding.
I am going to try to continue to do the show. And so I should have done this right in the beginning of the show, but we'll talk about it next week too. We're looking for anybody out there who wants to volunteer their time, because I cannot pay you. Trust me, we make no money here on this show. Right. I make good money in the Navy, but I'm still not going to pay you. Who is interested in basically producing the show and working with and designing and helping me continue on this. Maybe it's somebody out there that couldn't be in the military and can't join, but would still like to support. Hey, here's your chance. Come and support this show. Find it, like, share it, follow it, send it out. If you know somebody that might be able to help us, we're looking for our own music so we can stop using Spotify and getting flagged, even though it's non-trademark stuff. Get a hold of us. So we're going to introduce bonus content, and we are going to jump right into that.
Bonus content starts in 3, 2, 1.
Bonus content. So I just wanted to pull something up real quick.
Oh, no.
So, oh man, it's too tall for the camera. We already showed it on camera. If you didn't watch the Whiskey and Cigar Lounge, I definitely talked about it and dogged on you guys. So we like to just point out that everybody thinks that we don't get along, like the different branches. Yeah, here you sit. And here is the trophy that says that we are in a fantasy football league together. We
I don't remember this.
Yeah, it will be the second year. I have pictures. I will post them. But it does say 2021 Navy and says Chief Dowden because I won. All right. So for bonus content,
Are we going to talk about what the Sacco is going to be?
no, because somebody else is buying the Sacco. And if you don't know what the Sacco is, you need to watch the league.
There must be a Sacco punishment. It can't just be the Sacco.
I wanted to, for McCoy, I was going to get him a shirt, and I asked him, and he said yes, and I was going to buy it, and then he said, wait, what is it? And then when I told him, he's like, no.
I seen this one thing where they made someone stay at like a Waffle House, and you could not eat any waffles and be there for 24 hours, but every waffle you ate took an hour off.
Oh, I'd be done in 20 minutes.
Yeah, I eat 24 waffles.
You think so?
24 waffles? Yeah, well, maybe not now.
Waffle House waffles are kind of thin and delicious.
24 of them.
Delicious.
Delicious. They have a hint of like ashtray in it, but
yeah.
it reminds me of home.
I think you get to...
You get that slight trailer parkiness to it.
Yeah.
Like I'm waiting for the guy to come in the jean jumpsuit.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I think you get to number 6 and you're like, whew, all right, this is...
Then you wait, maybe you
I got
wait
another
an hour.
4 more of these to go.
You wait an hour, you people watch, right?
Yep.
And then you go. So here's what we do for bonus content real quick. I want to talk about our first 3 picks. That's it. It won't take long. And see if you could go back, if you would change your mind. So we did a draw an hour before we did our draft. And you drew which pick?
I don't even remember.
Number 1. You were the number 1 pick.
Hold on, where's my phone?
And I was the number 7 pick. And your number 1 pick.
I picked Cup. Of course I picked Cup.
You picked Koopa Cup of Coffee. Why did you pick Koopa Cup of Coffee?
Well, I'm a Rams fan since way back when they were in the Lou.
You didn't pick him last year.
I didn't know.
Who did?
I didn't know he was
I
that
did, and destroyed. What nobody knew. It was a gamble.
Nobody
It was
knew.
either Woods or him, right?
Yeah, and he
I
was
chose
amazing
him.
last year.
Yeah, and I chose him, and yeah. So you picked Cup. Would you, if you could go back looking through some things that you did, would you still pick him? First pick.
I would still pick him.
Okay. My number one pick, 6 picks later, was Alvin Kamara. Would I go back and change anything? Yes. Yeah, I think I would.
I think I had him last year.
Well, he's good. It just depends. Suspension stuff, no, I don't know. Okay. I didn't write down yours, Levesque. Who was your first pick? Because you were number 8. You were at the end.
Najee.
Oh, yeah, Najee Harris. Would you change anything?
Probably not.
Probably not. So then we come back around. Second pick, you pick Joe Mixon. How you feel about that?
Feel pretty good.
Very good pick.
I think so too.
I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel bad for my first 4 picks. I'll just be honest. I felt semi-confident.
Then we all kind of started doing this. My second pick was Jamar Chase, also from the Bengals, and I do not feel bad about that at all. He also blew up last year. The one game I set him out was the game he scored like 54 points. So I'm hoping he has that again. And then, do you remember what your second
Justin
one
Jefferson.
was? Your second?
Do you have it memorized?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel bad about that. And then I picked Saquon Barkley,
Like
and
right
I
after.
still feel okay with that.
Yeah, it should be all right.
Super confident in that.
And then I picked Aaron Jones for my third pick, which I feel confident about only because, I mean, if you look at stuff that Aaron Rodgers has said, I don't know who he's going to throw to. Maybe Lazard. That's about it. It's young, and it's still him. But I think it's going to be a split backfield, and I was going to try to get Dylan, and I waited too long, and sure enough, Levesque scooped him up later. Your third pick, though, was Leonard Fournette. Still good with that?
I'm still good with it.
I don't know. What was your third one? The Saquon, right?
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley. So we will see. We'll definitely update you as the year goes because what is next week?
Oh,
It is football, babe. It is football.
so it starts on Thursday.
Yeah. Football starts.
Your next helm day?
Yep.
Behind the helm?
Yeah. It is. It is. So
So your next one, you should your bonus material, you should have your prediction for the winner.
we could look at that. It all depends too. And I mean,
You should see what the app says the prediction for the winner is. Obviously the history says
for who we're playing, like for our fantasy. Yeah.
fantasy. The app will tell
yeah.
you who they predict to win the whole
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then we should write that down, and then we should also see, what
Yeah.
I mean, like what everybody should make their pick. Like, don't just pick yourself just to pick yourself.
Well, I'm
I
going
mean,
to.
obviously you're super confident because you have the trophy, but
And the ring. It's not on today. It's over there, but I have the ring.
yeah. So you're feeling super confident.
Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, I think it was interesting to pick where I picked, and we'll see. And I have another draft this Sunday for a 10-man league with some other Chiefs in my command. We decided that we're going to do a league, and I drew last pick on a 10-man league, and I've been looking through some stuff, and it changes a lot. So we'll see. I'm going to try to manage. I figure if I could manage a team last year and go through the Chiefs season,
Yeah,
I could probably manage 2 teams.
absolutely.
We'll see. So anyway, we've carried this on a little bit, and we are going to go ahead and tell everybody thank you very much. Make sure you smash that like button. Follow, share this feed no matter what you're on. Make sure you comment down below if you have any questions later on. We really appreciate you coming on with us. And I know you're leaving soon, but you're going to be here for still a little while.
Still a little while. Yeah, I'll be
Still
here
a little
couple
while.
months.
So, come up and see us in Anderson, right off Scatterfield, and get some information, about what you want to do. So with that being said, thank you guys very much. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.